Hello and welcome to Columbus Local Podcast. I'm Len D'Amico, and tonight we have a special guest episode with Tom House. Tom, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm great, Len. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm glad you made the time tonight. I really appreciate you coming.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I was thrilled to do it.
You know, your current involvement in Columbus local music scene is the following. I'll let you describe.
Well, I manage the Shawn Booker Dammit Band. They're a fantastic blues band out of Columbus, Ohio. Although she's an international artist, she's based here in Columbus.
Yeah, we know Shawn, and we love her music, and we love hanging with Shawn whenever we can, whether it's at a gig or, you know, when we did the episode on Columbus Local Podcast with Shawn.
Oh yeah.
You know, we all kind of hung out and pre-gamed a bit and had a good time. But you know, I thought, man, you'd make it just a fantastic guest for the podcast as a special guest.
Thank you. Oh, that's fun.
So Tom, where are you from, and how did you get into the Columbus, Ohio area? I think I probably might cover the podcast because of all your stories. But
How many days do you have?
oh, we can do a couple things, man. Keep rolling.
Well, you know, I was born in Chillicothe, Ohio. And, you know, I often say I was born poor white trash because I was. You know, I was born out in the boonies, Spud Run Road, beside Tar Hollow at the foothills of Rattlesnake Knob, with no indoor running water. I mean, it was like, you know, early 60s.
Early 60s and, you know, rural Ohio, right?
Oh, right. Well, you know, I mean, I grew up so poor. My idea of who rich people were and what a good life was watching like Johnny Carson and Joe Pine, and I'd see these women in furs and diamonds and men in tuxes, and I thought there's got to be a better life than out here on Spud Run Road. and I also thought, well, maybe when I grow up, I could be a professional talk show guest. All I'd have to do is smoke cigarettes, drink martinis, and talk.
That's cool.
And then, you know, I graduated high school and went to work for the FBI in Washington, D.C. as a lowly file clerk. Then I went into retail. Then I went into apartment management and decided to go to barber school. And I was a barber for 30 years. Got tired of that, started a construction business, and fell in love with Shawn Booker at the same time about 25 years ago.
Oh, man. 25 years ago. In what city was that?
Here in Columbus.
Here, okay.
I first met her at a festival called Hot Times in Old Town East, ran by Candy Watkins. And I saw Shawn on stage, and I said, oh, my God, that's my girl.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys met and started hanging out, became friends?
Well, we met. We just became good friends over the years. And then when COVID hit, you know, everything musically kind of fell apart. And so I had house concerts and for a charity that my husband and I have to teach children in Brazil to read. And Shawn was very supportive of that and did concerts for me in the house for maybe a year and a half.
Oh, cool.
And then I started booking for her, and then I became her manager.
Yeah. If you're on Facebook, we follow the Shawn Booker Band and Shawn Booker. I think you know, we can see you're very active in working with the band and working with Shawn personally.
Yeah. It's a ongoing experience, that daily experience. I mean, keeping up with the Shawn Booker Dammit Band Facebook page is a lot.
Well, yeah, and you're wearing a lot of hats, right? Like you're you know, managing several aspects of the music, but those little facets of the job, if you will, are broad, right?
I mean, it's all about, they are broad. Besides the aspect of Facebook, there's posters to be printed and delivered and advertising to be done and video ads for Facebook and print ads for Facebook and the Instagram accounts. And I mean, it just, and then booking for festivals a year in advance and booking local venues, and doing the application for the International Blues Challenge in January for the band. I mean, it's quite encompassing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and she plays all over the world, right?
All over the world.
Yeah.
South America, Europe. I think there's like 17, 19 countries in Europe that she's played. I flew over one time just to meet her for a concert in Poland. Czasał, if I'm pronouncing that right. Poland. Yeah.
Cool.
So, that was quite fun.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I think, what city is the International Blues Festival?
That's in Memphis.
Okay.
In Memphis. Yeah.
Not sure if it was a little further south or not.
And there'll be like 200 bands from all over the world competing for, the Blues Challenge winner. And I believe Shawn's going to take it.
Oh, let's hope so.
Yeah.
There's several probably from Columbus area. I would think Columbus has an very much alive blues community within the music community that I'm sure we'll have a few that'll be involved at least with this Memphis event.
Yeah, there's a lot of musicians who have been to Memphis to this event before, and they're going to meet us there. We have a fan base, if you want to call it that are meeting us there, friends, other musicians. So we have a Columbus contingent that's going to go with us.
Yeah, so awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice to have that kind of support.
For sure. I'll have to look at the calendar, man. It might be a good weekend to head down. We love Shawn. Love her.
I know you do, and it'd be a great time to have you there. Let me tell you.
For sure. Yeah.
Let me tell you.
At any rate, there's always a lot going on in town. You guys, I see the band booked all over.
Yeah, they're booked everywhere, different venues, different times. It doesn't matter where you live in Columbus, there's a venue close.
Yep. True. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So I know that there's a couple of things too that are a part of your multifaceted existence, Tom. And so, but I don't know. I'm not sure how you want to dive into some of this, but I'm going to kind of think through kind of your thoughts on what you want to share.
Well, let me start off by saying, I'm a gay man. And I have been married to women twice. I'm currently married to my husband, Scott. So I've had a really different varied life, varied lifestyles, different experiences with some would say different worlds. And I have to say, out of all of that, the greatest day of my life is the day my daughter was born.
Wow.
I felt like it was the most accomplished thing that I would ever do.
Bless you.
And as a result of that, we have 2 granddaughters and a newly adopted grandson. So we are proud papas, let me tell you.
Wow. Congratulations.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And but then on the other hand, my ex-wife, who's the mother of my child, moved to Florida into a trailer with an 80-year-old man to get his Social Security check and is now a Trumper. So,
and that's different from your politics, I take?
And a little different. But then it's like, who has a lot of money that lives in a trailer in Florida? It's like, I don't get that. So, yeah. That's one wife. The other wife, who was my second wife, she was convicted of fraud, the largest fraud in the history of the United States.
Are you kidding me, man? Are you serious?
and
Is this during your marriage?
no, after my marriage. Oh my God. Should I say her name?
No. Well, I don't know.
She's in.
You don't need to say her name. If those that are interested can Google you and then do their own research.
They'll get it. Look on America's Most Wanted about 2003. She was convicted of the largest fraud in the history of the United States.
Is it still the case that is the largest?
It still is. It still is. And she's in medium security prison up in California. And I mean, other than and this was long after we were divorced, but I always kept track of her because one day she said, "You'll never be rich." I said, "I'll never be in prison." So, isn't that weird?
You know, the irony is always around you, Tom.
It was like, I gotta tell you the story, Lynn. I was a dispatch reporter wanted to interview me about her when she was on the run, and my ex, she ran away to Mexico before they gave her the ankle bracelet. And she was missing for about 2 years. But this dispatch reporter interviews me, and then she, in code, kind of tells me that she's interviewing me to get information for U.S. Marshal's office. And I'm like, this is really weird. So I was on my way down to Brazil, and a friend of mine gave me a gigantic suitcase full of stuffed toys that belonged to his wife who had passed away.
What kind of toys, Tom?
Like elephants and giraffes and bears. And
So stuffed animal type toys.
Animal toys, yeah. And so I was taking those down to give to the kids in the street in the favela. And once I got down there, my bag, which never happened before, was missing. So they sent it to me. And when I opened the bag, the back of every animal was slit open. And I thought, that's really bizarre. So I said, oh, well, you know, what the hell? I'll get one of the gals down here to sew it up. So then I go out that night, and I was with a buddy, and we were shooting snooker with these two prostitutes. And this guy's sitting over there in the corner watching every word I say and staring at me intensely. So I walk over to him and I say in Portuguese, "Are you Brazilian or American?" And in English, he was stupid enough to say, I'm Brazilian. I said, "The hell you are? You got a Central Ohio accent. What the fuck are you doing here?" And he got up and walked away.
Dude.
Well, the next day, after I'm thinking and sobering up and thinking about everything, I'm like, these are U.S. Marshals. They are following me to Brazil thinking I'm taking her money.
Oh, my God.
Because if it were drugs in the stuffed animals, the dogs would smell them. Since every back was split open, I'm like, they're looking for money. Well, when I get home to the States a couple months later, I find out, yeah, they were following me to Brazil. And that wasn't the first time. They thought I was taking her money. Like, I'd take that bitch money. You know, it's like, no.
You're not going to take any money.
Not to her.
Right. They're trying to find her, right? Was this during the time they're trying to find her?
They're trying to find her. And they since found her down in Mexico, in this expat community. And so they converted her sentence from 25 years to life. And so she's in medium security in Northern California.
Wow. So can you describe the case?
Well, it was a case of it's public record. It was National Century Financial Corporation in Dublin, Ohio. And they would buy accounts from doctors' offices, dental chains, hospitals. They caused 425 hospitals and chains and medical communities to file bankruptcy. Even the federal auditors cannot figure out whether it was $2.2 billion or $3 billion.
That they were taking from their customers who were filing bankruptcy?
No, what they would do is this company would buy accounts from doctors' offices and hospitals, and then they would bill those customers, and they'd take a percentage and give the rest to the medical offices.
Gotcha.
And
So they were billing their customers for services that weren't necessarily being
exactly
executed upon.
And they were supposed to keep, I think it was 400 million in reserve, and all of that came up missing. So
Wow.
so there you go.
Well, that's an interesting case study, very interesting.
Yeah, I thought about writing a book about her, but I thought, oh, I only have so many days left on Earth. Who wants to spend that time?
On that particular topic.
I'd rather spend my time in Brazil.
Well, I got to go on record. Like, I was married twice myself. Okay, and I'm grateful for the women that I spent that time with. Both of them. I mean, just great human beings.
I learned something from both of them.
I got to believe there's something besides what not to do, Tom, that you're grateful for, but you're just shaking your head. No. Turns out you really didn't. It wasn't your thing.
It wasn't my thing.
Did you know? Did you know then? I mean, I'm just out of curiosity. I'm not.
Did I know it was gay?
Yeah, like when you were married. Was it
I'd fooled
okay?
I'd fooled around with a couple guys when I was like 13, 14, and I was backward and naive in the country, and I thought, well, maybe this is just normal. There's no girls around, so when girls come, we'll take them on. But I just no, I always saw men looking at me when I was with my wives or whatever, and I didn't think much about it. And then just one day it clicked. That's why these guys are looking at me. That's why I have this insecurity within myself. That's that's why. And it's like, my second wife was the first person that I told that I thought I was gay, because she was the closest person to me.
Right.
And I loved her the most at the time.
Yeah.
But just I came out, and then it was like, oh, hell broke loose. It's like some people open that door softly. I like kicked the hinges off of it.
Right. Right.
I had a friend that told me, he says, well, I said, I think I'm gay. I want to go to a gay bar. And he says, oh, I don't want to take you there. And he said, because you'll go there all the time. I said, no, I won't. I just want to, I want to see what it's like. And he said, okay. So he took me, and I went in. I took a look around. I went in the bathroom. I puked just from nerves. And then I went out probably about every night in my life for 30 years. And I don't know, I thought I was secure with myself. I mean, I went to barber school when I was doing hair, and I knew...
doing what you wanted to do and what you felt you should be doing, right?
And the Reagan years didn't affect me, and I didn't care what anybody else did, as long as they just let me cut hair and make money and party. That's all I cared about. And but as a result, I drank for that, all that time, like almost every night of my life. And always very successful in business, but not very successful in relationships.
I gotcha.
So that was an era. Cutting hair, coming out and cutting hair, and realizing who I was, and having a child, and having 2 ex-wives, and I mean, I was in between. I was in that space in between the straight community and the gay community, and I could relate to both of them because I mean, I guess you're the sum of who you are, and that's who I was.
Right, exactly.
So
well, good for you though, for continuing to grow and continuing to gain your sense of self, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Strengthening yourself.
and it took a while.
Yeah.
I think it took maybe 30 years. It took at least until I'm older enough to, not care,
Right.
not care what other people think, and
Right.
just be true to myself. And I found that I have more relationships and more friends just being yourself than trying to be somebody you're not.
It's so important. I mean, so that's an important aspect that I always try to, encourage around myself is to just be yourself, man. Just, or whoever, right? Like just be who you are. And if you're not sure who that is, continue to take the time to explore.
To explore and find out,
Right,
find out, because everyone's experience is different.
Yep.
And I mean, not just sexually, but in business and love and in life. I mean, everyone's experience is different, and that's why I think we should just embrace each person as they are and learn from that. Collective knowledge is the best thing on earth.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
Couldn't agree more.
yeah. So
Well said.
it's just, yeah.
If only we could get, the government participants within to maybe consider that a little stronger. I mean, it just seems like just these times aren't any better to me from my view as who I am, right?
Yeah.
And I could define that, but we don't have enough time to define who I am. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, dude.
I don't think politicians will ever really represent us. I mean, they're torn between
Representation is they're just, I don't know.
they're torn between the money they can get from various sources and what they'll do with the money. Us, nah, and get them elected, and that's about it.
Shudder. I shudder next year at this time. Thinking about it.
God,
So let's not think about it right now.
yeah, let's pass on that. Oh my
Oh,
God.
jeez. Yeah. So,
Columbus has been like coming from a small city, moving to Columbus by way of New Jersey. Columbus has been my home for like the last 50 years, maybe 55 years. And I've had such great experiences here. I met the greatest people. When I moved to Old Town East in the early 80s, that was like a hippie artist, African-American community. The houses were really dirt cheap and gigantic. And when I first moved there, that's when I first found my really lifelong friends. I opened my first hair salon there. And then expanded a couple years later to the next space over, and I was growing my clientele, and I was being crazy with long blonde hair and a white fur coat in an East Side ghetto with carrying a pistol in my pocket so I wouldn't get mugged on the walk home.
damn.
And that's where I met Claudia Yasko. I was at this concert at Vets Memorial, and there was a group playing. I don't recall the name of the group right now, but anyway, I ended up getting a note from the group that said meet us for a drink. So we meet them for a drink at the Sheraton, and our waitress is Claudia Yasko. And I don't know if you remember Claudia. Claudia was accused of the .22 caliber murder killings in Columbus, and a Playboy magazine attorney came down to defend her, along with the local Columbus attorney. I won't say his name. Anyway, I don't know how I got here, but I was with Claudia the night that she was having breakfast, and she says, I'm going to go over and tell those sheriff's deputies that I killed that man. And I said, oh, Claudia, don't do that. And she goes, no, I think I did kill them. She went over and she told these two cops that she'd killed these people. They talked to her for about 5 minutes and arrested her.
Right there at that location.
Right
What
there at
was
that
that? What was that location?
It was up on like Morris Road or 161. It was like a Denny's. Or
And she worked. She worked there.
No, we were having breakfast with her boyfriend, Pigman, who drove a pig truck.
Alrighty.
So Claudia and I became friends, and Daniel Keyes wrote. He wrote out Flowers for Algernon. He wrote a book called Unveiling Claudia, and he interviewed me for the book. And you should buy the book. It's kind of fun.
We will.
But he interviewed me for the book, and I asked him not to use my name. I said, don't say what I said, but you can give me credits. Those guys might get out of prison and kill me. So I met Claudia in Old Town East.
Wow. Where is she now?
I lost track of her. The last time I saw her, she was a TV minister.
Oh, wow. Good. That's a good story.
It's from tarot cards to, she thought she was the princess of Hawaii.
She's an interesting case study.
Claudia had multiple personalities. Her and Billy Milligan. Do you remember Billy Milligan?
I know that name.
He had multiple personalities, and they were great friends. All of them.
Where was Billy Milligan's claim? Not claim, but it was notoriety.
I think he killed somebody.
In Columbus?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that name. 1970s.
Exactly. It's been a long time.
Wow.
But yeah, I met Claudia there. She lived a block away from my salon at the time, which was at Parsons and Oak.
That's a great neighborhood, man.
Yeah, it's a great neighborhood, yeah.
My son lives in that neighborhood now. I have a son,
does?
my youngest son. Yeah, sort of near that area.
I lived there for almost 40 years. And I recently moved 3 years ago. I wanted to get a home that was on one level so I wouldn't have to climb the steps all the time.
Smart man. I think I'm older than you. I think.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
72.
You were born in 72?
No, I am 72.
Oh, no, man. You got me over 10 years, but not by much. Not much more.
And that's all right.
It's quite all right. You don't look your age, Tom.
Well,
I'll just say.
And I'm damn lucky, I guess. I mean, as much as I've smoked and drank, I've smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day for 30 years. I drank for like 35 years. I don't drink anymore. I have 8 or 10 drinks in a year, but I'm just not into drinking anymore. Trying to relax.
Yeah, relaxation, I find, is cherished moments that, I don't get enough of.
Yeah. Quietness, just
yeah,
quiet.
I get that. I totally understand. And peace is, it's a cherished moment. There's nothing to it.
Especially, after you've come home from a night of music and yet all that loud music in a venue, and it's like you get in your car and it's silent. It's like, oh my God, I love this. But I love that too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dichotomy of what we gravitate toward.
Yeah. And I think, just being more settled and peaceful and relaxed, just, it makes me feel better.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, no. And it's like, now that I'm an adult, I'm allowed to, in quotation marks, I've grown my hair halfway down my back, which to me is just, it's fun.
Have you always had long hair? Or
No.
Would you? Okay, because you said
no.
adult, but that's a span.
Oh, well, I've started having it long like the last 10 years, but I had periods off and on where I'd let it get a little longer, maybe shoulder length, but then on any given day, I might just completely buzz it off and start all over again. I mean, for years I was in the hair business and I'd get my hair cut every 3 weeks. When I got out of the hair business, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to go to the salon. It's like, oh, it takes some time. I got to park. And I said, I'll just let it grow. And then I let it grow and look at it one day and say, oh, it's too long. Then go have it all cut off.
Like mine?
Yes, like yours.
Really? All
just
the way
buzz
down.
it off. Number 2 on the clippers.
Oh, this is no guard, man. I no guard this baby like every couple days. But yeah, I mean, that's cool. That's real cool.
So it's and it's also strange to be this age. I mean, I embrace it. I embrace age. What's your alternative? You might as well, deal with it and be happy. But,
Yeah.
But the point being, there's whole stages in your life, and I think you should embrace all the stages. And I'm in a happy place, so I'm embracing that. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of what to do and what not to do, and hopefully I'm still learning a lot more. So I never had that attitude when I was a lot younger. It's like, oh, I know everything. Well, when you get my age, you realize you don't know everything.
You only know what you knew at the time. Okay.
Exactly.
And if you live a sheltered, semi-sheltered existence, or an existence with a lot of institutions that bury you, and maybe you have several institutions that are encompassing your existence. That was me. Traditional family existence, and then when you grow, when you move on in life, you're in your 20s, and maybe you hang on to some of those morals and values, and it's very solid, and I am grateful for. My parents were awesome people, and it was a very traditional family, and everything that went with it. But then you realize, that at 40 years later, you've lived a lot of life, hopefully,
Yeah.
and you've seen a lot of the world, hopefully, and are able to determine where I came from doesn't resemble most of what I've seen.
Exactly.
And so, do I want to live in a world that caters to me and my existence, or do I want to live in a world that is embracing every walk of life?
Exactly.
I don't care. I don't care who I'm not going to judge any. Let everyone be themselves. We talked about it's important to be yourself, but I want others to be happy and free. You can go to the Constitution of the United States and some of the founding father concepts of liberty and justice for all. They didn't just say, Anglo-Saxon, males. They said liberty and justice for all. That concept of coexistence.
Yeah.
You live your life, I live my life, and we can coexist in the same space and accommodate each other's lifestyles and embrace what's different from what I am and what I believe, even.
Well, I think there's something that you can take away from every person that you meet, every experience that you have. I think, you have to be open to the thought that you will learn something new. And you may not want to know what you learned, and you may want to know what you learned, but you learn something new. And I love traveling for that reason. We usually go to Europe for a month every year and do the touristy things, but make sure we do things that take us out, that meet real people off the beaten path, mom and pop restaurants and things like that. We usually go to Brazil now a couple times a year. Before I was married, I had, more single time. So I've been to Brazil like 35 times. And I went for Carnival one year, 21 years ago, and I said, I'll be back. I ended up buying a home there.
Oh, wow.
And I moved to a city 3 hours north of Rio de Janeiro called Cabo Frio, which it means cold cape. And I had that for a couple of years. When the exchange rate turned upside down and I realized I could make money off selling the house at the same price, I sold the house. I took the houseboy, his wife, who was 16, and their baby back to the favela. Americans would call it a ghetto. Back to the favela where they wanted to return. And I lived there I rented a place for a year, and I loved it. I loved the people. I loved the energy. I loved the cheapness of it for an American. I loved the food. I ended up building an apartment building there with a Nigerian friend. And we built 6 apartments, and we each kept one and sold the other 4. And so I lived in Brazil for 6 months out of the year for 10 years. It was quite an experience living in a favela. And my friends in the favela were the militia. They were the law. And I met them when they were waiters in a hotel.
Which country was this?
Brazil.
In Brazil.
In Rio de Janeiro. And so, I lived there for 6 months out of the year for 10 years. At a small apartment next to a sewage canal. And they didn't charge you for electricity. They didn't charge you for water. All the electricity was stolen. I mean, there's thousands of wires running across the street. But I have the greatest friends down there. And I'm still friends with that little family that took care of my home in Cabo Frio when I was in the United States. And I still, my husband and I still support Maria and her 2 kids, Anna Clara and Alini. And we're going to see them next week.
Oh, so you're going to head out of town next week?
We're headed out of town. It's like I love going to Brazil. And part of that love is like, when you fly to Europe, you get jet lag going over, coming back, the time difference. We're on the same time zone this time of the year. So you get on the plane in Miami at 10:55 at night and you land at 8 in the morning. At their time, you have breakfast on the plane, you're ready to go as soon as you hit the ground.
And I'll bet you guys do.
We do. Well, we absolutely do.
Do you carry your bag or is it checked?
Oh, checked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because how long are you staying?
We'll stay for 10 days this time.
10 days, man.
I can't be gone for long because, we've got a lot of band work to do and I have a construction business to run.
You got stuff to do.
So we got stuff to do.
Which part of Brazil are you going to?
Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro. Wow, man.
Actually, the favela, the name of the favela is Rio das Pedras, which is a river of stones. And it's right outside of Barra da Tijuca and the National Forest. It's about a 20-minute bus ride outside of Ipanema. And now that I don't have the apartment, I ended up selling it in the favelas. We always stay at a little hotel that's in Barra da Tijuca. It's like I said, a 20-minute ride to the favela, but it's very cheap to be there. It's right there you cross the street, you're at the ocean. They have this beautiful breakfast spread that's probably a choice of 30 dishes included in the price of the hotel. And it's like $70 a night for 2.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Do you speak Portuguese or do you speak English or is there an eclectic group of language?
No, I speak English I speak English
very well.
Kind of good. No, but I do speak Portuguese enough to really get by. Of course, I don't know every word in the dictionary, but conversationally and asking where I want to go and having a conversation just isn't a problem.
So I wonder the origin of the Stone Rippers, right? And if that had anything to do with some of the ancient ruins that are a part of not just Brazil, but along Peru
Yeah,
and Machu Picchu and some of the other I get the names are escaping, but there's just some amazing ancient structures that had to do with placement of stones and quarrying from no place near up in the mountains of Brazil and along that southern coastal area because Rio de Janeiro is on the sort of the southern coastline, right?
right.
Southwest. Am I thinking right with my
I
geography?
would say southeast.
Southeast. Okay.
Yeah. The shoreline there is particularly crazy. You have the ocean, and then you have the beach, and then you might have 10 city blocks, and then gigantic mountains. So
That pop up out of the ocean.
come straight up out of the land, maybe 1,000, 2,000 feet from the ocean. I mean, we're talking about mountains.
Right.
The landscape there is like very unusual. It's like Sugarloaf Mountain, the tourist attraction there that has the car that goes up to it. It's like just this gigantic single mountain that overlooks the ocean. It's a beautiful country.
And it sounds like it. And how fortunate you are to have that as a sort of a part of your life, right?
Yeah. I mean, the friendships that I've made there, the little family that we help support and encourage and love, all those experiences, they're unbelievable experiences. I mean, they're just the sense of giving and loving and embracing other countries, cultures, people. It's really expanded my horizon. It makes me think in a different way.
That's a really a bold, way to live. It seems like you're always stretching and always, adventuring and looking for understanding and looking to continue to learn, right?
Well, as I tell Shawn, it's like, let's just go out and punch him in the face. and not literally, but figuratively, just like living your life punching them in the face. You just go for it. Just have a great time. Go for it.
Give it who you are. Give it everything you have.
You never know what you're going to see, who you're going to meet. The experience that you have is going to be a once in a lifetime experience.
That's for sure. And I think my next 10 years to get to where you are, 10 years, a little tiny more, but that's okay.
Well,
I want to do the same thing. I got things I got to work on and continue to work on and continue to make the time to travel. Something that I've always wanted to do, but you gotta pay attention to yourself and your mobility and your ability to do that.
Well, I think if we were a different couple with a different lifestyle, like 9 to 5 jobs, weekends off, things like that, our relationship, my relationship with my husband would be different. As it is now, we work together. We do the music scene together. We don't have a lot of downtime for like date nights, so to speak. So we opt to travel and take a lot of time to do that, and so that we're away from all the things that distract us, and we get to share those experiences together.
That's great. That's fantastic. It's a success story.
Well, I'm
Coming back around to
I still feel
what
like
we
I'm
weren't good at, maybe early, we're better at today.
yeah, and I'm still working on success. If you just if you define success as happiness, I think when you seek happiness, you're still seeking success. And sometimes it's an effort to be happy. But that's what you do. It's like, I'm not the guy that's got the glass that's half empty. I'm the half full guy. It's like, and I just kind of like think maybe I can tip it to get more water in. So that's the way I view life. And the other thing is, being my age, I think, well, my dad died when he was 85. My mom died when she was 76. And what's the life expectancy of a man who smokes 30 packs of cigarettes, blah, blah, blah. And I think, well, hell, I might as well have as much fun every day as I possibly can. Because it could be tomorrow, it could be 10 years, it could be 50, who knows? But realistically, I don't have any time to waste. I'm just going to have a good life.
Well, it sounds like the little glimmer that we got today, you're definitely living life. And I'm sure there's a lot more that you could talk about if we had more, to slice out here. But maybe we'll have you back again, Tom. I'm sure there's a couple more stories you could share.
We could go on and on.
We'll bring, we'll leave the invitation wide open for you.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd be great.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be fun time.
So, coming away from, some of the things that you've shared, I think we said earlier, learning from our lives, seeking to understand and, becoming happy because you're choosing to be happy and you're making changes within yourself as well as, within your life, outside of yourself, to parameters that bring happiness. That's what it's all about, man. That's a good message, Tom.
Yeah, well, that's the way I try to live, and it doesn't happen every day.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Well, I thank you, sir. This has been fun.
Oh, Lynn, it's been great talking with you.
And again, I think we should have you back and listen to a couple more stories that you'd like to share.
I'll be happy to.
Awesome, man. Thank you. All right. Well, that's Tom House. And we thank you for listening. Have a great night, Tom. And
thanks, Lynn.
Hopefully everybody else will have a great night too. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.